Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to another narrated Pokemon Wi-Fi battle. Today's battle is a never-used match against an opponent by the name of Neeko, who I met on the Swogan Wi-Fi Battle Finder forums. This battle took place a little while ago, but it was still a lot of fun and allowed me to show off a new team that I really haven't used before because I just came up with it recently. But to kind of talk about it a little bit, it's kind of centered around the defensive trio of Bastiodon, Unfezant, and Chimecho, and the weirdest of these three is probably going to be Unfezant, just because you hardly ever see this Pokemon, but it actually has a very nice physical defensive stat, as well as access to Taunt, Recovery through Roost, and some other really good support moves that allow it to wall some physical attackers pretty well. But to round all these three defensive Pokemon off, I do have a Bulk Up Throh, a Mystic Water Basculin, which I find is very useful to kind of bluff having a Choice Band while also giving you the power to your Aqua Jets, which is what you want, which is why I go with that over Expert Belt. And then lastly, I have a Scarfed Raichu. Now, there is going to be one weird happenstance in this battle, so I just want you to keep an open mind about it. You're going to probably be like, what the heck? But it happened, and it actually made this battle a little more interesting because of that. But with that, let's just jump into things right now and see how this battle goes. So to start things off, I lead off with my Bastiodon as my opponent leads off with this Ursaring. Now, knowing that Ursaring does pack close combat, I was a little worried first turn, but I do have the sturdy ability, so I knew I could take at least one as I get up my stealth rocks. But he does go for a Swords Dance right there, but I really don't care too much because I can just roar him out in the following turn if he does go for the close combat, which is what I go to do because I would obviously live with 1 HP with the sturdy ability. But luckily for me, he actually mispredicts right here and goes for the Facade, expecting me to switch out, knowing that he would have close combat as I go for the Roar. Now, getting those Stealth Rocks out was extremely important, because as you saw from the team preview, he actually has 3 Pokemon weak to Stealth Rock, and also 1 Pokemon that could pack Sturdy, which was his Caracosta, so getting those up as soon as possible was going to be very essential. But on this turn, as I roared him out into his Togetic, goes for the Tri-Attack to maybe get some hacks with that. Unfortunately, it does not with Serene Grace, as I missed my Toxic. But knowing that he has an Ursaring, obviously that is already Toxic, and knowing that I would probably want to go for it again, I decided to change up my moves a little bit and go for the Rock Blast on the following turn, just in case he might have wanted to stay in either way, because Togetics often pack Heal Bell and don't really care about Toxic. But he does go out into this Ursaring, as I said, and is able to easily take me out with a close combat on the following turn. I stay in because I didn't want him to set up again, so I went for the Roar right there, and also I didn't want anything else on my team to take that. But knowing that he now has -1 special defense due to the close combat, I'm free to bring in my Raichu right here and go for the Volt Switch. If he switches out, it doesn't matter because I have something else to deal with the other Pokemon that he might have to, or he might switch out to. But if he stayed in, I was easily going to be able to take it out with that Volt Switch, which is exactly what I do right there. But he goes into his Gurdurr right here, and knowing that I have a resist to fighting moves, even though this Chimecho is mostly specially defensive, I do go into that. I take the Drain Punch alright, and I can Wish Protect on this thing if I so desire to, but I don't want him to start bulking up knowing that he can do a really good amount of damage to me with that Drain Punch, so I just go for the Extra Sensory right there. I know that Psychic is a little bit more powerful, but Extra Sensory is a little bit more unique, and it does have a chance to flinch, so I just go for that anyway. I pick that out of my Pokemon that can learn it because I think it's interesting. But he does take me out with the Payback right there, and I just go out into my Basculin right here, go for the Waterfall thinking it was going to take out, but unfortunately he gets a critical hit on this Mach Punch, which does a ton of damage, but luckily I do not die from it, but I'm able to actually 2-hit KO this thing with a combination of 1 Waterfall and then a Aqua Jet on the following turn to take it out. Obviously my priority will go before his because he has, he is a slower base speed than mine is. But either way, he brings in the Swell right here, and knowing that he wants to go for Quick Attack, I switch out into my Unfezant, which takes that amazingly because this is max physical defense. And then he goes for a Facade on the next turn, which I know I can also live because I am max physical defense. I probably should have went for a Roost right here, but I thought Return would actually take it out. Unfortunately, it does not, and the Poison does not take it out either because that is the first turn of Poison. So if he stays in, he loses his Swellow, I lose my Unfezant, no big deal. Either way, the Swellow is gone, which was a huge threat, and I did not want to have to deal with that for the rest of the battle, so it was at least a good sacrifice in the situation. But he brings in his Togetic right here as I bring in my Throh, and I just go for the Substitute, knowing that he probably only has Tri-Attack because Togetic cannot earn Air Slash. And I know that I am very specially defensive, meaning that I am able to take that Tri-Attack extremely well, which is really great for me because I'm able to keep my sub as I'm able to freely get a Bulk Up on the following turn as he switches out into his Rotom. Now, I fully expected this Rotom to be the Choice Scarf variant, so I was expecting him to just go for Air Slash on the following turn, and then I would be able to 2-hit KO him with Payback. However, as you see right here, this is actually a defensive Rotom, which you don't see too often with the fan version. You normally just see Choice Scarf versions of fan Rotom, at least in my opinion. But either way, he just goes for the Air Slash, takes out my sub as I go for the payback. This unfortunately does not do nearly enough damage for me because I was hoping it was going to at least be like a 2 or 3 hit KO. It looks like it's doing around 25%. But then this happens, and I'll just leave you a minute to just contemplate the fact that his Rotom just went for Roost. Now, as many of you know, the reason why I'm saying this is because Rotom cannot learn Roost. So this was kind of a big deal at the time, because I'm like, well crap, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do about this Rotom now because he has Roost. And as this happened, I was like messaging him in the battle, and I was like, hey man, Rotom doesn't learn Roost, but he keeps going for it, despite the fact that he knows that I told him that it doesn't actually get that move. He was surprised. I guess people assume that all flying types can learn it, but either way, I just have to leave my throw in here and do the best I can against this roosting Rotom, which is actually cool because that sounds alliterative. Anyway, but he's able to actually go for one final Air Slash right here, gets a crit, which really sucks because I would have got a little bit more damage on that in the form of payback on the following turn. But now I have to debate whether or not to send in my Basculin or my Raichu. I decided Raichu was the better option. Seeing as how well he took the payback, I assumed he was physically defensive, but he actually takes this Thunderbolt extremely well as well, which really sucks for me, because I don't know how the hell I am going to kill this Rotom, to be completely honest now. I'm just going to keep going for Thunderbolts though, and I speed it up a little bit because I actually get the paralysis right here, which is very useful, because I think I deserve this 100% at this point. But either way, knowing that I got the paralysis, and knowing that the only move he has to hit me probably is Air Slash, I can probably handle this Rotom now because Air Slash is not going to do a lot of damage to me, and as you can see from before and the damages that I've done with my special and physical attacks against this Rotom, it is more or less a defensive variant and it's not going to have any attack investment. So it is only a matter of time before I'm able to finally take this thing out, and it is this turn where he finally gets his paralysis, which is going to allow me to now clean up with Raichu after this Rotom goes down, because the only Pokemon he now has left on this team are his Togetic, which is easily going to go down to a Thunderbolt from that range, and his Caracosta, which thanks to the Stealth Rock I got up earlier with my Bastiodon is going to break his Sturdy and allow me to easily KO with a Thunderbolt on the following turn. Now even if this Thunderbolt didn't kill, I still had Aqua Jet on my Basculin to possibly take it out in the following turn. Luckily it doesn't do enough damage to take out my Raichu though, so I'm able to actually claim victory in this battle after all this craziness happened. But yeah, that was it for this battle. Even though that was kind of weird that he did have Roost on his Rotom, I thought that made the battle fairly interesting and kind of exciting at the end, to be completely honest. So that's why I wanted to upload this anyway. I'm not knocking you as a battler, Neeko, at all. I just thought it was kind of interesting, and he knows now that it does not learn that, and he apologized after the battle because he did not know at the time. But anyways, that is it for this battle, everyone, so I hope you all enjoyed all the craziness of this one. And as always, thank you all for watching, take care, goodbye, and I will see you all next time.